Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conscious Conversations with Hayley Cullen. And I have a very special guest here with us today, James Balog, who is a co-founder and CEO of Ultimate Entrepreneur. I'm so excited to have you here and for you to share everything you know about business, finance, all of the things. So thanks for being here.
I'm pumped to be with you, Haley. It's going to be good fun. If our pre-conversations are anything to go by, I think we're going to have a pretty good jam this afternoon.
Absolutely. So, do you want to firstly just explain who you are and all about Ultimate Entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my name's James. I am the co-founder and CEO of Ultimate Entrepreneur with my business partner, Tyler Erickson. So Ultimate Entrepreneur is the merger of our two previous coaching businesses and our two previous coaching styles. We had a cool moment where Tyler started to join me in some of my in-person trainings. And I used to I'd just pull him up on stage and get him to do some coaching and get him to do some of his style of consulting. And all of my clients were like, man, you guys work so well together. This is so great. We really love it when you work together. And so 6 months down the track after testing that and getting that feedback, we thought, this sounds like a really great merger of our two businesses. We'd rather not do it alone. We'd rather do it with someone else that we like. And so, we merged the businesses it's actually 2 years this month for Ultimate Entrepreneur itself, which is pretty exciting. So we're kind of
Yeah,
been
happy
celebrating that.
birthday.
Yeah. And yeah, prior to that, we were both full-time coaching for about 5 prior to that. So yeah, for me, it's been about 7 years in the industry. We work with business owners, primarily between 500K a year and 2 million a year. And we help them land bigger deals, build high-performing teams, and live their legacy every day.
Yeah, nice. I love that. Live your legacy. That's cool. Live your legacy today, did you say?
Today. Yeah, today, every day. And that's that thing, right? It's like we can get so caught in the ambitious pursuit of wealth building and business building, and we can blink and years have gone by and we're a slave to our business that we once created to create freedom,
Mm,
and all of a sudden we're doing these 80-hour weeks and we're showing up every single day, 6 days, 7 days a week to this thing that was supposed to build us freedom. And what we've found with so many business owners is they literally forget how to live.
yeah. And
Right.
you know what I hear a lot too about like legacy and building your legacy? People say, I'm building this legacy for my kids. What if you get to build your legacy for you now to live it like, now and
Oh,
your kids can then like grow up and live it with you and then they know what they're doing
that's
as
right.
they do get older as well? How great.
Totally. I think in my experience, happy, passionate people typically leave behind the best memories anyway, and their families and their loved ones are most happy because they're happy and passionate, and they're creating memories with them, right? So I think a
Yeah.
legacy is not just this big. It's not a legacy is not just this arbitrary purpose that people create. A legacy is like the moments that you're gonna remember when you're lying on your deathbed, thinking, "Do I regret that, or am I happy I did it?" And
Mm,
I think how you live life every day is a really important aspect to being comfortable on that deathbed and knowing that, hey, you know what? I gave this a good solid crack. Rather than looking back going, man, I wish I didn't slave away to that business for 40 years and miss those moments with my kids, miss that beautiful relationship with my partner, you know, give up those games of golf or those days out on the boat or whatever it is that people love to do. Um,
mm.
yeah.
How do you think we can change the mindset of people that they don't have to actually grind to, and work and hustle and end up in burnout to make the money? Like, how can that's what we've been programmed to believe, though, right? That you have to work
Totally.
hard for money. So, with your business and with what you've done over the last 7 years, what is it that you could teach people so they can learn that they don't actually have to do that?
Yeah, I think it's such a good question. My very first mentor, whose wealth principles still echo through my mind today. His name is Giulio Delafitte. Actually just had dinner with him a couple of nights ago and kind of celebrated the ending of a 7-year cycle and the beginning of a new one, and got to share my I guess results from what I've learned over the last 7 years through many of his methodologies. And one of the things that he always says in his presentations and that he always talks about is the hypnosis, and just recognizing, and the importance of recognizing first and foremost that, like, modern society, the everyday human is in a hypnosis, and we were put in that hypnosis when we were sent to school, right? And we were told, get a job. We were told, go to school, go to university, get a job, pay your taxes, retire at 67, die. you know, and it's just a
Yeah.
hypnosis. It's just some random story that most of the world still believes in and still buys into. And so recognizing that hypnosis first and foremost, and deciding that it's not for you, and deciding that, man, I need to snap myself out of that, and realizing that you're the only one that can snap yourself out of it too. Like, you have to end your own hypnosis first,
Mm.
right? Like, that to me is like the first major step, is just truly recognizing and acknowledging that the hypnosis exists, right? And probably you, your friends, your family, especially the people around you, 99.99% of them, they're in it too. And it's comfortable there, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
easy to stay there because you're in trance,
Yeah.
and it's amazing being in trance.
It is
But
actually really good being in trance.
it,
For the
right,
right reasons, for the fun
for the
reasons,
right reasons,
not
yeah,
not
that's right.
that.
But you're in someone else's trance. You're not in
Mm.
your own trance. You're not benefiting yourself in that moment. And so then the next piece to that is recognizing, well, what is the life you do want to live? Because if you're like me and you, Haley, where the idea of working for 40 or 50 years, 6 days a week to build a massive amount of wealth that you can utilize when you're 70 years old, if
Oh.
that doesn't make sense, then you've got to probably start reassessing, like, well, what is the goal here? And actually just making a decision first and foremost, like, what's the goal here? Because for me, I knew that for me, my goal looked more like, I want the choice never to have to work again by age 40. Like, you know what I mean?
Perfect goal.
I reposition the goalposts. And then when you do something like that and you're bold enough to choose whatever, your goal is, to whoever's listening, like whatever your goal is, and that first thing you have to do is just reposition the goalposts and just decide, now that I'm out of the hypnosis, like, where am I going to set the goalpost? For me, the choice to never work again, right? And my money paying me money, right? Facilitating that by age 40 and before is even better. That was where I put the goalposts. And then the third piece to that is, okay, cool. Well, if that's the goal, then I better stop listening to everyone and anyone who doesn't either share the same goal or hasn't achieved it in the way that I want it to be done. You know what I
Mm.
mean? 'Cause there's a lot
Yeah.
of, like, there's a million ways to get rich. There's a million ways to build wealth. There's a million ways to do life. And as you know, right, there's a million asset classes out there and a million strategies, but you want to learn from people who are doing it in a way that, like, matches and aligns with your goalposts. You know what
Mm.
I mean?
Yeah. Yes. And you can move the goalposts as well. I am reading a book at the moment, Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau. And he
Cool.
always speaks about, you have the goal and it doesn't have to be the dream. It's
Yep.
your goal. And if you're focused on what that goal is, it comes. And then you can move the post and you
Yep.
set a new goal. And it's about having the little goals that will help you get to the $1,000,000 dream or whatever, the $1,000,000 house or the cars and the toys. But it's in the
Yep.
beginning, it's like setting your goalpost for where is right for you now. Like
Yep.
he says how if you're driving around in a beat up Datsun or something, you're not going to set the goalpost for a Rolls Royce. You know, you might set it for like a, a you know, a Santa Fe or a nice Kia or
Yeah,
mum's
exactly.
car or whatever. And then once you've got to that goal, then you can do it. You can
100%.
reassess and you can change the goalposts. But until you know that you can change your goalposts, you stay just doing the comfortable.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, everything's just a lily pad, right? It's like a lily pad to the next lily pad to the next lily pad, and and the more that, well, that's the thing, is once you get conviction and you get clarity on the next set of goalposts that you're moving towards, on the next lily pads that you're going to tiptoe across, once you get that conviction and that clarity, then all of a sudden the universe starts to conspire for you. You start to learn, you start to become more effective. And as you learn and you become more effective and the universe gets behind your clarity and your certainty, then with that, you start recognizing, you start learning ways to get to those goals quicker, right? To
Yeah,
be able to have that opportunity to make the goalposts move. But I think, back to your original question, which is like, how do we change the mindset around that, that hypnosis and that common thought that most people share? It's like, well, the first major thing is like, be bold enough and courageous enough to just set the goalposts. And then from there, it's like, okay, cool. Well, what's now that the goalposts are set and I might have set it, 10 years away or whatever it is, what's just what you said? Like, what is just the next lily pad now? Like,
yeah,
what's the first major like milestone from the moment that I'm at right now? You know,
yeah,
and it definitely often starts with simply learning. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
mean, as you know, right? Like,
Asking
it's information
questions.
gather, it's learning.
Yeah, it's unlearning and then relearning
Yeah,
pretty much,
I
isn't it?
agree. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's deep diving into these things that could potentially change your life, and it's just leaping into that. Yeah,
Yeah. And realizing that there's other people out there doing it. And it's, I have this saying at the moment, and I've been writing an email series to our email list about it. And it's this realization that I had like last month, that my partner and I, we built a life on it's too good to be trues. Those things that the majority of people walking the street out there think are too good to be true. There are people literally living their lives based off those opportunities that most think aren't real. Because
yeah,
because it's followed. If they don't say it's too good to be true, they'll say, "I'll believe it when I see it." That's the
yeah,
other one that I love.
yeah,
And all of that is part of the hypnosis. All of that is stopping people from ever being courageous enough to actually take a leap of faith. But there are people out there living on it's too good to be true, living on I'll believe it. Other people's I'll believe it when I sees it,
yeah,
right?
and what if they changed it to, "I'll believe it, I'll see it. If I believe it, I will see it. If I
That's
believe it,
exactly
I
right.
will."
Yeah. They don't
It.
realize that, like, that's it, right? It's like a knife's edge. They're like millimeters away from a totally different reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just that little word change, and it can completely change your life, you
Yep.
know?
Exactly. And that's it, right?
Uh,
That's setting the goalposts. That's believing in that goal and then realizing, oh, I can see a pathway there now. Because it's true, right? Anything you can clearly visualize is in the realm of possibility for you.
yeah,
Just
absolutely.
get it in there.
Yeah, yeah, put it in your mind, put it in your mind's eye, and it will. So, are these the kind of things that you teach in UE, in Ultimate Entrepreneur? Like, the different mindset, the different ways to, like, set goals, and, like, what is it that you bring to your clients in UE?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so we've got three core pillars, as I mentioned, right? Which is deal making, high performance teams, and living your legacy, and living that legacy now. And our ultimate goal with our clients is to become the 20-hour founder, right? Because we work with passionate people who love what they do. They want to build a business where they can put in 20 hours a week, still doing what they love. And then they want to have the team and the systems doing the rest for them, right? That's kind of like
Mm.
our ultimate founder, because they want to spend that extra additional quality time with their family, with their kids, with their friends, out there doing what they want to do, perhaps building a legacy rather than just building a business. So that, that's an important, I think, piece of context. And it's all well and good to have high performing teams. It's all well and good to have, like, a big purpose and an idea of the legacy. But the first thing and the first major shift that we talk to our clients about is, well, what's the size of goal or the size of deal that you're aiming for right now? Because most of us are aiming for goals or for deals that are comfortable and achievable, right? And
Mhm.
that's great, but nothing changes if you stay the same, right? There's no courage in what's comfortable. And so one of the key things that we teach and we take all of our clients through is this process of, like, I want you to times whatever that goal is, or whatever that your biggest deal is, whatever your highest priced product is. I want you to times that by 10, right? I want you to times that by 10 right now. So if you've closed $100,000 contract, what would it be to close $1 million contract, right?
Yeah.
If your goal is to make 100 grand this year, what would it be if your goal is to make 1 million this year? And it's not about the number at the end of it. What it is about applying, you know, one of the most awesome universal principles, right? Which is Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule, right? And recognizing that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts, right? And so when you aim so big, when you add 10 times to whatever goal you're achieving, or to whatever contract you have, 80% of the options that you have to achieve it fall away, and you're left with 20%. And the greatest thing about that is that gives you the ability to focus, right? Because now
Mm.
you're not distracted by the 80% noise, right? You're
Right.
focused on the 20% of things that are going to create massive results. And you'll find your space somewhere between your current goal and 10 times that goal if you choose to aim there. But if you only ever aim 20% higher, or even double, then you're going to land somewhere in between where you are and 20%, or somewhere in between and double, right? Like the old saying, shoot for the moon, because if you fall short, you'll still land in the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing that really shifts people, because we we get so obsessed on how, but like what you said before, it's not about how we get the goal. It's about creating the belief first. It's about
Yeah.
installing that belief.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
how doesn't matter. The how
doesn't.
doesn't matter when you've got the belief and you're, um, taking action.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to learn new hows, well, then you're not going to be a very effective person as you grow, right? You're always learning new hows, but the how, and that's all a how is. The how part is very, very small. It's just a set of skills, it's a bit of information. Like, anyone can learn the how. But
Mm.
why? The belief in why you should have that goal, why you should achieve that, the belief that it's possible, like, that's the stuff that really takes all of your courage and takes everything that you've got. Like, that's the stuff that often takes sometimes the longest. The how, it's just like, it's way down the process. By the time you get to how, there's just so much more that you need to worry about first.
Yeah. And I guess that's probably one of the things that founders are when they're trying to grow, that's where they're coming unstuck because they're not setting themselves so far
That's
ahead.
right.
They're like, it's just like these little mini movements.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because that's the thing, we see it all the time. We see like busy founders. Like, our client is inherently very busy. They're busy people. And one of the biggest reasons that we get busy is because if we only aim 20% higher, or 30% higher, or even 100% higher, double where we are now, we'll default into simply doing more of what we're already doing to achieve it. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So if,
Mm.
like, people aim to, like, say, double their revenue or double their deal size, they'll just do twice as much work.
Yeah. Right.
right?
You don't need
Which
to.
is wait,
Yeah.
and who has time to do twice as much work than you're already doing, right? It's totally
Yeah.
unsustainable. Like it's a pathway to burnout. But
Yeah.
when we increase that and we go, well, what if I aim 5 times bigger or 10 times bigger? All of a sudden, you don't have the option to do twice as much work, right? Because there's only 24 hours in the day, and most founders are already working, you know, 10 or 12 hours a day, most of them.
Yeah.
So twice as much work is their whole day already. Five
Yeah.
times as much work, 10 times as much work, it's literally impossible. So then all of a
Mm.
sudden in that moment, it's like they break out of the hypnosis, right? Because hard work is another hypnosis. It's very necessary and it's very important, especially in creating success. But it's also totally hypnotic, right? People
Yeah.
wear hard work like a badge of honor. They get
Yeah.
stuck till they're 67 years old and they can finally retire.
Yeah.
And
Hard work
so,
in business, I feel,
exactly
the same that people wear as a badge of honor. I'm so busy.
right. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Busyness. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a busyness, not a business if you're really, really busy all the time. And that's
Yeah.
it. And to transcend that trance, right? Like you got to interrupt that pattern. That's where this methodology of aiming 5 times bigger, 10 times bigger, all of a sudden snaps them out of the hypnosis and it forces us to think differently. And
Mm.
I my logic with investing and with building wealth is the same, right? It's just aren't most people aren't aiming high enough, right? Most people are just aiming to what? To own their house.
Yeah.
I'll own my house. That'll be okay. No, owning your house won't be okay. Yeah, but it's gonna grow. But I'm gonna buy it now for 500, and by the time I'm ready to retire, it'll be worth 2 million. So I'll have $2 million. No, you won't. It's just a savings account that's gonna keep up with the price of inflation, and it's gonna be worth $500,000. It just looks like 2 million in at the end of your life. It's not enough money,
Yeah.
right? You have to think bigger, but we get trapped in that trance and in that hypnosis. And
Mm.
it's kind of unfortunate, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also great when you step out of it, when you
Yeah.
realize
Oh,
that you are in there. So
definitely.
what advice would you give to someone that is like thinking of starting investing and all they think of when investing is putting some money in a bank account that,
Yeah.
earns 3.5% or whatever?
Yeah.
What's your number one advice for people looking to invest in other things?
That's cool. It's funny. I just got off a call with some of our clients. So these two business partners, they're incredible. They're 23 and 24 years old. They run a massive entrepreneurs community on the Gold Coast. And they're like going through their journey of figuring out like, okay, what do we invest in and how do we start this journey? So I just was having this conversation just before, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I think the first thing to recognize is education is key, right? Like it's the whole first part of the journey. As far as I'm concerned, the first several years of investing is more about gathering information, more about learning, and more about educating yourself on the principles of wealth
Mm,
building, the methodologies that investors use. Because if you don't have the mindset, right? Like if you don't have the
yeah.
mindset for it and you can't stick to that mindset and you don't understand why that mindset is different to how most of the world live and why that mindset is crucial, then whatever strategy you try will not work.
Mm,
And so most people
yeah.
are thinking, like, oh, my first step in investing is going and buying stocks or buying this house or whatever it is. Yeah, but if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't have any idea of the principles of wealth, there's a high chance that at some point you're going to derail that investment because you
Mhm.
decided some shit went down in your life and you were like, "Oh, I need that money now." And then you go away and you take it from the investments, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to install the mindset first. And so it's less about buying and more about educating yourself and learning it, and in my opinion, first and foremost. And with those clients, as I was chatting to them, like their big thing was like, like, how do I know if this thing I'm about to learn is the right thing to invest in? I was like, well, you don't, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Is most of us won't know what asset classes do I want to invest in until I go and start learning and start like trying. And when you
Yeah.
start learning and you start trying, you kind of like you gain that experience, right? And you start to work out, well, what do I enjoy? And most importantly, what am I going to commit to and stick to?
Yeah. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah,
What you're going to actually commit to and be
that's right.
interested in doing, daily, weekly, or,
Yeah,
just to make sure that everything's running smoothly.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
love
So
it. I love it.
it's
And I
it's about
feel like
investing in yourself. It's about investing in yourself first before you buy an asset, actually.
absolutely, absolutely. And also investing in the right person that can
Correct.
show you, teach you as well, like
Yep.
yeah, you gotta invest in, even if it's like reading, a book on it or whatever it is, it's like making sure that you go to the right place first. Um,
Yep.
what about the lessons that come with investing? Like, there's always a risk, right? So you have to learn the lessons along the way. What would you say to someone that may have invested in something and it didn't work out and that's put them off? Like, what's what's your advice there?
Yeah. Look, in my experience, if you're not willing to lose some money at the start to learn the lessons, then investing is probably going to be a hard journey. Because there is no such thing as investing without risk. And that was another methodology and another principle that always echoed through my head from my original wealth mentor, Julio, is he would always say there's no such thing as investing without risk. And
Mm,
so you're going to come up against those risks. You're going to make great decisions. You're going to make really terrible decisions along the journey of investing. It's actually all part of it because it's no different to any other endeavor in life, right? Is it's not all up. There are ups, there's downs, there's twists, there's turns. And if you really want to make a life of it and you want to do what the majority don't do, you've got to be willing to quite literally put your money where your mouth is, and you've got to go through the trial. You've got to go through the motions and realize that you're not defined by your losses, you're defined by how you bounce back, you know?
yeah,
And if you give up just because an investment went bad, if you just simply give up, then you're truly failing yourself. You're not
mm,
failing anyone else. You're failing yourself. What you got to
yeah,
do is you got to get back up, dust yourself back off, and say, "What did I do wrong?
yeah,
Like, how did I stuff that up? And the
yeah,
next time, I'm not going to do the same thing that I did. The next time, I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to change it. Sometimes that's about leaving that asset class alone. Sometimes that's about just changing a behavior that you did. Sometimes it's about not investing as much the next time around, right? Like, but those are the kind of lessons that are going to come up along the way. But it's
yeah,
like everything, right? Like we're defined by how we bounce back, not by our failures and also not by our successes.
yeah. And I feel like when you do go through something like that and you do learn the lesson, or, it's it's put a little bad taste in your mouth, it's always good to, like, go back, like, go somewhere else and
Yeah,
try something new. Don't stop, because obviously, it might not be that one, but it could be the next.
it's so true. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're gonna give up, then you're gonna guarantee you're never gonna be successful, right?
Yeah.
And it is really important. And I don't know, everyone's spiritual journey is different as well, right? And so you never know
Yeah.
how many times you're supposed to like fail before you make that one decision that can change everything, because it usually is one decision that changes everything. It's usually not all the decisions that change everything. Not everything works,
Yeah.
especially in investing. It's the same in an investment portfolio. There's a couple of assets that carry the portfolio, and as seasons shift and times change, those assets will change, but they're not all firing at the same time most of the time, right?
Mm.
And that's a really key thing, I think, to remember. And when I look at my journey, and this is an interesting thing, I had a business partner in my first coaching business, and interestingly, you know, part of when we built the business, and this is still true today. We set out to build an ecosystem, not a coaching business. The coaching business was just the marketable method for us to be able to create impact, add value to people, and build cash flow so that we could build our investments, so that we could build our long-term wealth. And when we set out to do that, when we set out to build this ecosystem, we met a bunch of different investors through a bunch of different asset classes. And we went about putting our money where our mouth is, and testing it and trying it. And most of those endeavors didn't work out, right? Some of them, we lost all of our money. Some of them, nothing happened and we just got our money back. Some were with some terrible people that, in retrospect, they weren't necessarily terrible people with like bad intentions. They were just terrible at helping people invest, you know?
Mhm.
And we learned so much about who to trust, who not to trust. We learned so much about our own process of due diligence, our own process of investing in things that we're in alignment with and versus not alignment with. But there then came a point where I kept going, right? Like I didn't let those failures stop me, because I knew that every failure is one step closer to the one decision that will change everything, right?
Yeah.
And interestingly, my business partner was the kind of person that sort of gets affected by that stuff sometimes, and sometimes chooses the other road, right? And so he stopped. All of that relationship equity and experience equity that we had built along the way of investing, right? The quote unquote failures, or the quote unquote non wins, put him off, and he just stopped the process whatsoever, and then took another path back into what's comfortable. And it was
Yeah.
the very next asset. It was the very next asset, Haley.
Of course it
The
was.
very
Of
next
course it
asset
was.
that made me financially free for the rest of my life, and my partner, and he chose to walk away.
Mm. It's always the way. It always works out like that, doesn't it? It's like, that guy that's digging for diamonds and then he gives up and the diamond's like right there.
Right.
That's just the story. It's like it is. It
That's right.
happens with everything that you do. The moment that you give up, like it's the next part that could completely change your world.
Yep. And I think about it, especially this year, where like my partner Hillary, who just got home, she's somewhere behind me. That asset that we invested in 3 years ago, um, is just about to list publicly on the New York Stock Exchange. And again, it's changed the whole trajectory of our life, just that one asset. And since then,
Yeah.
other assets that I invested in have also done insanely well, because again, when you crack the code, you crack the code, right?
Yep.
And this year especially, like I look back on it and I think about it all the time, and I'm like, wow, man, like it was just that one decision and that one
Mm.
moment and that willingness where one person chose not to give up. Like one person chose to take all of that, like relationship equity and learning equity and failure equity, right? And take that, turn it into knowledge, turn it into skills so that the decisions would get progressively better. And then that next asset was the one that changed everything. And so
Mm.
you cannot give up, and you must be prepared to fail, and you must be prepared to fail multiple times. You must be prepared to look like an idiot. You must be prepared to look insane to your friends and to your family and to the rest of the world, right? Because remember, it's too good to be true, and I'll
Yeah.
believe it when I see it, right?
Yeah.
But you might be one decision away from everything
Yeah.
changing.
And
So I
that's
think
with everything in life, isn't it? Like
totally,
it happens. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If you're not, it's like 100% commitment is what it takes.
Mm.
And you commit until you work out how to get that result,
Yeah.
and got to be prepared to take on the commitment you're making. And I think with investing, it's truly no different. You know,
Yeah.
it's truly no
Yeah.
different.
I agree. And you know what? People work and work and work and work and work and work and work to build something. And, if it doesn't work, they're doing something else and they're still working in a job or in their business or whatever. It's like you need to have that same determination as you're going to a job as what you want to do with your investing. Like you don't give up in a job if something bad happens or, you make a mistake or whatever. You just keep showing up the next day, the next
Yeah.
day, the next day. So put that towards you. Put that towards your investing, you know? Oh, I
Because
love it.
your money doesn't get sick. Like, you know what I mean? Like your money's not affected by like the human things. Like it's the best worker you'll ever have because it doesn't get tired
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. I love saying to people, have your money work for you. Like,
Yep.
do you preach this to your clients
Yep.
as well? Like
100%.
obviously a lot
Have
of
your money
them
work for you.
are making a lot of money in their businesses, so they could have their money work for them while
Yeah.
they're, doing their 20 hours a week in their business, but because they're making so much money, they can also be making so much more over here with their own money.
Totally. Like the business makes money, but the investment makes freedom. And that's the thing. Like the purpose of the
Mm,
business is to fuel
love
the
that.
investment. The investment's going to give you the freedom that we all talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the investment's going
yeah,
to be the thing that pays you a wage so that your hands don't have to anymore. And so many
yeah,
business owners get caught up in their own business, and you see a lot of coaches in the coaching industry like get really obsessed with their own business in a sense that, and they say like, "Oh, but I'm investing everything in my business." You know, I've seen it so many times along the way where, when I was an up and coming coach and whatnot, I was always again taking money and taking time, and I was like equally building my investment portfolio and making sure that all my eggs weren't going into the business basket. And at the times that they were, I missed out on some incredible opportunities over here, which sting, right? But they
mm,
gave me that perspective to recognize how important it is not to be totally obsessed with just my business and have all my eggs in that basket because there's no guarantees and it can be a very risky investment. And so then if you're not doing both at the same time, you're never going to create a pathway out of the business.
mm. Yeah. Wow. I love how you I love how you explain things and like I'm a visual learner, but the way that you actually say it, I can see it all and it's so great. Thank you for sharing all of this because I feel like so many people are going to get a lot out of this podcast because it's opening up their mind and they can change their perspective on how they do view money or business, and or coaching or whatever it is, like,
Yep.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love this makes me so excited.
Awesome.
Oh, so great. So, I wanna know if you're building your business UE and you're doing your portfolio and everything to create financial freedom.
Yep.
How are you making it so you don't have to spend so much time in your business so you can have the time freedom, money freedom, like all the things? Because if your company's quite a big company and you're working with all of these people, how do you not spend so much time there and do the things that you love?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like number one, and I think more people could do this. Like having a business partner is very helpful. Like having a business partner, like yes, you may sacrifice 50% of your founder dividends, right? But you have two brains and two people's energy working to growing your business, and it's much easier to take time away when you've got someone else, right, who can hold the business down. And that's probably one of the great things about Tyler and I is if I need a week off or 2 weeks off or whenever that happens, we've got another human who can just be like, yeah, cool, go have fun, see ya, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then and then that leads us to that second part of our of our core model that we, train our all of our business owners on, which is to build a high performing team, right? And a high performing team and the systems and structures that a high performing team needs to help you with delivering your product is the other key piece. So the fact is that the more that our business relies on us delivering, the more it's going to suck us in, right? The more it's going to hold us in every process. But when we have good systems and we have a great team and a great team culture, then our business needs us less and less and less and less. But that requires a whole lot of leadership from us as the human. It requires us to step into a whole new level of leader, and it requires a lot of surrender to be able to give other people permission to grow, make decisions without you, to trust that the business will be happy and healthy even when you're not there, because there's a lot of ego that needs to be dropped in that process alone. And so
Mm,
we're always we're always building with our lifestyle in mind all of the time, right? And we're always building our systems and training our team and organizing our year in a way that gives us freedom and flexibility to consistently live our lives, to
mm,
consistently have opportunity to go off and learn investing, or go off and go on, holidays, or whatever that might be. And
yeah,
you've got to gear your business around your lifestyle, not your lifestyle around your business. Like, that's, I think, the
mm,
fundamental difference that we see is everyone has this idea of the lifestyle they want to live, but their lifestyle comes at the mercy of their business's schedule. And that is the
yeah,
biggest mistake.
yeah. It is. So what about having to give up the control and delegating to team members? How did you going from doing your own coaching and then becoming like having a bigger team? Like I feel like some people do struggle with that. I've worked for people before and they just, they watching over you or they don't want to delegate or
Yep.
how did you transition from that?
Yeah. Yeah. This is, it's a funny thing. I just, whether it's business or whether it's business, whether it's investing, whether it's health, fitness, like anything, I'm just a firm believer in get people who are smarter than you and better than you at everything else that you're not amazing at doing. So
Yeah.
there's two or three things that I'm really bloody good at.
Yeah.
And if I can live my life every day in the business where all I need to do is those two or three things, which for me is like, I'm really good at relationship building and I'm really good at speaking on stage, So if I do those two things, the business prospers, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Because you've
so,
spoken in front of like hundreds of thousands of people on stages before,
yeah,
haven't you?
yeah, yeah,
That's your
yeah.
core.
Yeah, and in many formats as well. Like, I started off teaching marine ecology, marine conservation to hundreds and hundreds of people on the Great Barrier Reef, and then that eventually transitioned into business owners and speakers. And so I'm very comfortable on the stage, and that's what I'm really great at. And I'm good at inspiring, and I'm great at taking complex methodologies and delivering them in simple sentences and simple visuals, right? To
Mm,
make something
I can
finally
tell
make
that.
sense. Yeah, and that's what people always say. I've heard that so many times, and the way you explained it made it finally make sense. Because most things need to be simpler. And so if I look at my business and I go, well, really, there's only probably 20% of my business where I can be doing the thing that I'm super talented at. And it means the other 80% of my business, that's my freedom piece. That's the
Mm,
bit that the better I get at finding smart people to replace me, or finding great systems to replace those zones, then I don't have to do it. And that's where I start finding my freedom. So delegation and bringing people in, like, that is the freedom piece for you. So, I now find it quite easy to do it because I have this belief that I don't need to, nor do I want to be the smartest person in my business. Because if I am, then my whole entire business relies on me and I will never get out. It will become a trap. And most
yeah.
business owners eventually end up resenting their business because every decision runs through them, right? Every action runs through them, every job has to be done by them. And so it becomes this like sticky trap that they never get out of.
Mm. Before we jumped on the podcast, you were saying to me how business and you are two separate things. It's That's what I feel like I really, really needed to hear that from you in that moment. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But a lot of people are in their business, like, yeah, doing
Totally.
100%. So it's like you really have to separate. Can
Yeah.
you explain that? Can you speak into that, like how you just did for me before? Because I feel like that is going to land for a lot of people as well, because it did for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like off the back of this idea of, well, how do I delegate to take myself out of the business is also a really massive, spiritual piece, which is how do I start to let go of control of this business? How do I realize that, do we really own anything? Like we're here for a very short time in this life and in this existence, and we're kind of borrowing everything that we're doing anyway. It's not really ours to take with us no matter what. And so this notion of it's my business, and wearing that my business like a badge of honor, that's something that your ego needs you to tell it,
Mhm.
right? It's not something that your spirit wants from you, right? Like your soul knows that your business is not about you. It was never for you. It delivers value for others. And so one of the things as well for me and for Tyler was recognizing that we're just the custodians of a vehicle that provides value to our clients and a vehicle that provides, jobs and a purpose to our employees. And so therefore, it's not our business. Like once the business is up and running and there's clients in it and there's staff members in it, it is no longer my business. Does that make sense?
Mm,
I am
mhm,
simply the custodian of this business. It's my job to make sure it stays healthy. It's my job to, go and take its vitals every day and steer it in the right direction and change course when it needs to. But it is
mm,
no longer my business. It belongs to my clients. It belongs to my staff. And I
mm,
have to do for that business what's best for them. And they then, when that happens, they then collectively kind of steer the business in the right direction, and that then allowed me and Tyler this notion of like separation from the business. So we can be over here living our life, going through whatever we're going through, the ups, the downs, the twists and the turns that we do in the human experience. And the business can be cruising in a more stable fashion most of the time because it's no longer attached to us. Because the moment we call it my business, well, then it has your problems as well, And
mm,
so
yeah,
if you have I'm going through my winter right now, or my big like spiritual breakdown, or I'm going through my sickness, well, then so is your business. So if your
mm,
business is attached to you, it's going to experience everything you do. And so this process of understanding how to detach the entities, which for me just started by changing my language. And it's something Tyler used to notice when we first came in. And he was like, I really like that. He would tell our clients, he'd be like, you notice when James talks about ultimate entrepreneur, he calls it ultimate entrepreneur or he calls it the business. You'll never hear him say our business or my business.
mm,
I talk about it like it's just right an asset in the portfolio.
yeah. I
It has
love
a
it.
yeah, it has a job to do.
Yeah.
Like, and that job is to provide value to its clients and a place of employment for its staff. And my job is to be the custodian for that, but it's not mine anymore. It became not mine the moment the first person like committed and purchased.
Mm. I just love this.
Yeah,
I really love that, and especially, like, the language piece as well, like, not owning it. You're
yeah,
not owning that business, like,
totally.
it is not yours, it is a
Yeah,
business, it is the business that is creating money for you.
yeah. And from a financial standpoint, the mistakes that creates is like when people don't make that shift, right? What happens is they do silly things like they don't pay themselves. They're growing this business and they don't pay themselves. They're growing this business and the business, they're investing in their business, as they say, and all the money goes into the business. and it all goes back into the business, and everything goes into the business. So they never have anything to go into an investment portfolio. But when you
Mm.
create that separation finally from you to your business, and you become the custodian rather than the owner, then you realize that part of the business's job is to also pay you the money that it's responsible, right? Because it's its own entity, it's responsible to pay you, so that you now have money that you can go off and you can invest with, that you can go off and you can learn with, you can invest in yourself, you can help your family, you can start a charity, you can do whatever else you want to do. But without that separation, people often create this like singular entity with them and their business. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I noticed they struggle. They think that the business is the answer to all of their life's like problems, you know what I mean? Or that the business is going to be the thing that gets me forward, that the business is my biggest investment. And it is an investment to an extent. And you've got to diversify outside of that investment. And so it's
Mhm.
different. Your perspective on it's different when you're standing over here and you're not like at one with it. And you're going, hey
Yeah.
man, like your job's also not just to provide value to the clients and provide value to the staff, right? If that's happening, then I've done my job now, which is to be your custodian, because if everything's going right, so there's a fee that I take for being a custodian, and I take that fee and I get to use that fee to invest in my family's future, in my future, in like all the cool things that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I love these perspectives because I feel like I was that at when I started coaching, like coaching was
Yeah,
gonna like set me up financially and freedom and all of that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And now that I've diversified and investing and putting my money to work for me, I'm like, oh, this is just a something that can give me more money to grow and invest in. Yeah.
That's right. Like eventually it just becomes another asset in the portfolio, because when the portfolio starts making more cash than the business is just it's just one asset you invested in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
that's
thank you for
yeah, you're
that.
welcome. Yeah. It seems to hit people pretty hard when they get that. But I like it. It's been really helpful for us to have that perspective, you know. I'm just the custodian.
Mm. Mm. When you first started coaching, what what was your genre, or like who were you coaching? Like what was James doing when he first decided he's gonna now be a coach?
Yeah, so when we first started out, we were doing like gut health and mindset. Like that was our big thing, because my business partner and I went through, as most coaches do, our own big transformation, which really was catalyzed by working on our gut, our microbiome, and going through a major health reset that really just changed our entire life. That sort of led us to, you know, to meeting our mentor, and to going down the road of doing our first coaching certification and things like this. And we were like, cool, we're going to help people with gut health and mindset. And I really loved the mindset stuff. Like when I learned NLP, I frothed that. I was really good at it, and I was like, I want to learn more about this. I want to learn more about the mind, because at the end of the day, that's always the biggest block. You know, you don't change your gut until you change your mind about changing your gut. So I knew I needed to kind of do that. And so we actually started a we actually started a weekly cafe catch up on the Gold Coast called Coffee and Consciousness, which happened during COVID. Like literally, like the moment they let everyone out, we built this thing because we knew people were craving connection, and we wanted to have conscious conversations. We wanted to talk about consciousness, and we wanted a way to be able to, you know, invite people into the journey. And so we yeah we were rocking up to the cafe on a Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. every single Wednesday morning, and just holding this little group. Started off with 3 people and ended up, and 8 weeks later, with 50 to 60 people in the cafe at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday morning every
Right.
single week. And we
Yeah,
ran that
no.
we ran that like clockwork, and we focused on mindset and personal transformation. Um, and that was sort of where we started. But because we nailed the timing of it, and we really nailed what people needed at the time, which was like conscious connection after a time of forceful disconnection.
Mm.
Our business blew up and it grew really rapidly. I was working with another mentor at the time who was a very hungry kind of business coach and a very like she ran a very hungry NLP business. So she taught me a lot about being hungry for money and selling. And I learned a lot from that. So our business grew really rapidly. And then all of a sudden, all the coaches started coming to us to asking, how do I grow my business? And so I kind of fell into teaching people how to sell and how to like do a coaching business. So I sort of
Mhm.
fell into like sales and business coaching and then realized, oh, I kind of like this and I'm good at it. And so that pretty much just solidified the process of yeah, business coaching and sales coaching and weaving in all of the mindset, all of the health, all of the network that we'd built into that ecosystem. And then fast forward, to now, many years on, and hundreds of clients and thousands spoken to. We primarily focus on business owners across consulting, professional services, and trade services, and it's really bloody cool.
Very cool. So, how would you get someone to go from sales to deal maker? I feel like that's a big thing for you. Like it's
Yep.
now these people are making deals. Like they're
Yeah,
making deals in their businesses instead of teaching sales. It's deal making.
totally. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like if you sit with the words for a moment, and I know you're an NLP practitioner and you understand the power of words and the power of language, right? You've pulled up many moments in the podcast so far. And so it's like just alone if you think about the word sales versus if you think about the idea of making sales um versus doing deals, there's a different energy to it. There's a different
mm,
feel. There's even a different size. Like if you feel and you imagine the size of a deal versus the size of a sale, like there's like a natural sort of difference in energy towards it. And so it comes back down to that core methodology of our purpose when it comes to selling is more money, less effort. So if I can do one deal that makes me that 10 times the money, or one deal that gets me 10 clients instead of one sale that gets me one client, or one sale that gets me one product, then I'm going to go to make a deal every single time. And so what really separates, a business owner from a salesperson is the ability to go, okay, cool. Now that I understand how to make sales and I know what I'm selling, how do I transform making sales into doing bigger deals? How do I find, instead of one client, how do I find 10 or 20 or 100 at once? One conversation to get 10, 20, or 100 is far more productive, far more effective, and far more profitable than one conversation to 10 people or to 20 people or to 100 people. And that's that really big shift. And so many business owners get caught in the sales hamster wheel because they lack the ability to close deals. They might be
mm,
great at closing sales, they don't understand what closing deals is all about. So it's an identity shift, it's a change in how we see things. It's a choice to say, you know what, cool, I can sell one client 100 times, or um or I can sorry, I can sell 100 clients, right, each, or I can go ahead and go, I'm going to sell once and I'm going to get 100 clients. It takes a different person and a different level of thinking to do that. But that's how big businesses are built. That's how big businesses are made. And that's how you start to rapidly buy time back. Because if you're having to show up, and make 100 sales calls, right,
yeah.
versus one call to get 100 clients, the amount of time that goes into those two things is astronomically different.
Mm.
And so it's about having a highly profitable skill set. Sales is an amazing skill set in itself. It's a great foundation. It makes you money. But what makes you profit, and a lot of profit, is the ability to close big deals. And a lot
Mm.
of that's building partnerships and relationships. We see every sale like a relationship rather than a sale.
Yeah, absolutely. And the the people that you are selling to, like are you already building relationship with them prior to these the one calls, or is it like just a
Totally.
one-off? Yeah.
Yeah, like our methodology is always been be the most generous person in the room. And if you're super generous, you'll become a no-brainer and deals will close themselves, right?
Mm,
Sales sell themselves. And
that's so
so
right.
for us, like at the end of the day, like making a sale or making a deal is someone's belief that the value is there. It's their trust that the value they're searching for you can provide. So our whole thing is, well, why don't we provide so much value to that person before they ever even decide to pay us, that paying us just becomes a formality and it becomes a total no-brainer.
Mm,
If this is my experience now, imagine what it'll be when I pay these people. That's the
mm,
experience that we endeavor to create every single time. And whether that's with a client that we're a prospect, like a direct client that we're in a sales process with, whether that's with a partnership that may open us up to big deals where we can get lots of clients, in one hit, right? We treat that the same, and we treat them the same. If it's a partnership, we want to nurture that person, open our resources, be as generous as possible, because that's kind of the world we want to live in at the end of the day, right? Um,
yeah.
Ultimately,
And
it's not about us at the start; it's about them.
yeah, and people like to pay people that they know, like, and trust, right?
100%.
It's just how it is. Business.
100%. Yeah. And
Yeah.
generosity in the right direction is a really great way to build a massive amount of trust and to also decide whether you're right for each other. Cause that's the other thing, right? It's like values alignment is a really crucial part of all of that. And our methodology is we only want to work with people that we'd invite to our barbecue.
Yeah. I love
So we
that.
have the barbecue test.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we say. Would we invite this person to our barbecue if they weren't paying us? And if it's not a resounding yes, then we're probably not the right people for him.
Yeah, and I love that. Some some people just wanna sign people up, but then some people get to know the client and are like, I don't think we're gonna be a right fit, but I could point you in a direction where I think you would really fit in with a certain person. Like, that's the
Yeah,
integrity that I like about the different coaches that do that. "Hey, like, I don't think
yeah,
it's gonna work, or I can help you, point
yeah,
you in a direction that someone can." Because
yeah,
you're right, like, the client is they're gonna come in and they're going to win and perform and do everything great if they are, like, aligned with you, and if they're not, they're gonna come in and they're gonna criticize, they're gonna judge, they're gonna, like, do all the things and probably go then tell people, "I didn't like that," or,
oh,
"I didn't get it,"
yeah.
you know? So,
They're gonna
yeah.
cost. They're gonna cost a lot more than they're worth.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, so juicy. I've loved this conversation with you. Thank you so much for being here and just giving us like every single part of you. Like, you're so knowledgeable and I love the way that you do speak. I would love to see you on a stage. What do you do like on stages? When are you doing another one? Is it your own? Are they TED Talks?
Yeah,
What
good question. Yeah, thank you for first of all. It's been I've really enjoyed this as well, and I always appreciate the opportunity to come and jam out with another cool person. And yeah, look, it's a bit of everything. Like we do travel around Australia and jump on other people's stages. We run our own stages 2 to 3 times a year as well. So our next training is a 4 day training called Ultimate Leadership Training, and that's up in Cairns in North Queensland. And like we do, when I say training, like it's 3 days in the training room, all on like leadership and what it takes to become the leader you need to be to run a high performing team. That's really cool. But we've got like daily fitness. Night number one, we take everyone to like the best waterfront tappers place, in Cairns, and put food on for everyone so that everyone can network and build relationships and enjoy themselves. Day number four, we're chartering a reef boat and taking the entire group out to the Great Barrier Reef, snorkeling and diving all day, just
Oh,
us.
so
So
good.
that's kind of like what our 4-day trainings are like in person, because we love fun, we love great value, and we love great community that hits, all of those spots. And so there's always opportunity for business owners to be able to, to reach out and come and join in on those trainings. They're awesome. They are a whole nother level of epic,
Mm,
and we really
they
make sure that
sound
we get
fun.
cool people in the room. And then, even, sometimes it's hard to travel. And so every week we have a Thursday training call for our clients. And there's always a golden ticket to jump in a call. So if there's a business owner who's like, hey, I want to, see more about that, they're welcome to jump on one of those Thursday calls online on Zoom with our paid community and just come get the value, do the workshop, jam out, see me speak, see Tyler speak, whoever's doing it. So there's always
Yeah.
plenty of opportunities there. And yeah, we've of course got our socials. And you can find our socials on Instagram at UE, so the letter U, the letter E, training underscore. And of course, we're posting on there regularly, not just value bits, but any speaking gigs that we have, any events that we have running, we'll let everyone know on the socials there. But yeah, we've got the Cairns event coming up in September. February next year, so February 2027 will be our next in-person training, and that's going to be a health wealth retreat, which we're super excited about. It'll be the first of its kind for UE, and we're going to bring in some amazing network and talk about investing, talk about building wealth, talk about assets, talk about ourselves being the major asset in our life, and
Mm.
bring in some really cool health, longevity, and fitness into that, and of course a whole lot of fun. So yeah,
Yeah, it sounds so
it's gonna be
good. It sounds very, very good. So excited. I want to know, how do people jump on your Thursday night call then? You mentioned that they can come in and join for one session and see what it's all about. How do we
yeah.
do that?
Yeah, honestly, the easiest way would be find us on Instagram at UE Training, send us a message. Hey, I saw you on Haley's podcast. Would love to jump on the Thursday call, and we will grab it from there.
Mhm.
Our rock star executive assistant, Shane, who is the master of Tyler and I's schedule and all things UE, will grab that. She will lock you in and send you all the details you need. Otherwise, you can email me directly, james at uetraining.com.au. That also works as well. Same deal. We'll get you
Cool.
into that Thursday call.
Amazing. And with the retreats that you're holding, the wellness retreat and these 4-day events, are these for your clients only, or can anyone come along?
Yeah, so those are geared for our paid clients, and we also have tickets just for the 4 days. So it is a really great way. It's a really great first place to experience the Ultimate Entrepreneur community.
Mhm.
Sometimes people, of course, will move on for the whole journey after that. Sometimes people just need to come to that 4 days to get that information, to get that transmission, and to come and have a whole bunch of fun. So either one works. The main thing is we take very few startups. So we let in about 10% of startups, right? And
Yeah.
what dictates that is whether we believe you've really got what it takes. And so there's a couple of startups we let in, but typically the benchmark is around 500,000 in revenue. Perfectly, the minimum in the room. There are a few doing a little bit less than that, but they're the kind of but they're people doing less than that who are making big swings and who are going to be hitting that 7-figure mark within that next 12 months. But
Yeah.
yeah, most people are doing between sort of 500 and 2 million, and then we do bring people in who are doing 8 figures, 9 figures to come and do guest speaking, do mentoring, come and hang out in the networking, come out for the fun stuff. So you get to rub shoulders with some pretty cool people.
Yeah, that's so cool. Love that. Hey, when you are networking and you're with like new people that, you know, if you like, say for me, I'm not doing the 500,000 a year yet. And like, what would you say to someone that's stepping into a room like that with maybe the thought about not making as much money as them, or lacking the confidence, or like how do you get them to like just come into the room, show up and rub shoulders, because you are the 5 people that you want to that you hang around, right? So if you want to be there, you got to go in there before you get to that point. So how do you encourage people like that to get in there and leave the shame or the shit that stops you from doing that?
Yeah.
What would you say to them to get them in the room?
Here's the thing that most people don't realize about really cool, successful people. And I'm making this distinction, like cool, fulfilled, successful people, not the kind of people who make shit tons of money, but they're miserable. Not those kind of people, but the kind of people who have made lots of money, great businesses, and they're vibrant, they're fulfilled and they're happy. Most successful people love helping people that ask for help. So
Mm,
here's the thing, right? Successful people know that you create success by celebrating other successes, and they will give you the world if you're willing to be the student. And
yeah,
that I think is the single biggest barrier, is so many people have this notion that highly successful people are too busy for them. But highly successful people, they know how to make money. That's not the thing that fulfills them anymore. The thing that fulfills them is passing on their wisdom and passing on their knowledge. So go and like be the sponge, because I
yeah,
guarantee you someone else is right now, and it could be you. And the single greatest, hack, you said it, Haley, the single greatest hack in success, the first thing that you have to do is change tables, right?
mhm,
So pull up a seat, sit next to the person that scares you, sit next to the person that you think that you're not worthy enough, and become the student. Because I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, that person is so happy to give you as much knowledge and as much wisdom as they can, because they want you to succeed, because someone once did that for them.
yeah, yeah, so true, so true.
That
It's
was a
so
good question.
it's it's really wild how the unworthiness and that still plays out. Doesn't matter where you are in life and how much work you've done. I just feel like sometimes those kind of things still pop into your mind, and it's
Oh,
whether
yeah.
or not you like then sit in it or you move through it and be like, hang on, why is this coming up? But it is like when you're building and growing that these all of these things show up, and
It
I
never,
think it's
it
really
never
important
stops.
to know. And that's what I think it's really important to have, like, coaches and mentors and
100%.
other people doing the same thing in your field. So, you can talk about it, speak it out loud. That's one thing that I get to do, for myself. I have to speak it out loud for me to like, the journaling and that doesn't work for me. It's like verbally speaking it out
Me
to
too.
work through it. And I feel like when you've got those kind of people in at your table, then, you can bring it up and be like, "Oh, identity or worthiness or shame or guilt," or whatever it is that's rearing its ugly head again. You've got the people there that can help you work through it.
100%. Like we're all human. Like we all experience the experiences, no matter how much, success there is, there's always a bigger fish, right? So some someone's worthy is someone else's unworthy at every level, at every stage, and it
Mm,
always comes back. And I think when you're in those stages in life where it feels really heightened, and that barrier is there, that probably means you're at the precipice of a new level, and that's the time that you have to push through that, and you have to go and pull that chair up and sit at that table, because you're like inches away from the upgrade.
mm,
When
yeah.
we don't feel it, we're comfortable, you know, and we're
Yeah,
usually a little while away from
yeah.
breaking through.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like you grow so much more when you're in uncomfortable situations, right? And the people that are growing so much are the ones that put themselves in the uncomfortable situations all the time.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, thank you so much for this chat. I feel like I've had a little coaching session instead of a podcast. It's been fabulous. I'm sure everyone out there that's listening feels the same way. So thank you for just sharing so much with us today. And yeah, get to ultimate entrepreneurs, get on their socials, get into their space. Clearly they just know exactly what they're doing and can like teach so much. So thank you, James, for being here. I really, really appreciate the chat, and I'm excited to see the day where you say, my it's just all my money. There's no need for work anymore. I can't wait to see that play out for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's between 3 and 4 years away. I can see it so clearly. I can feel it. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna enjoy every moment between now and then because life will never be the same at that point, and I'm really aware of that as well.
Mm,
So I think, I'm gonna enjoy every moment, every twist, every turn, every up, every down. Um, that's for sure. But no, thanks for having me, Haley. It's been a whole lot of fun. Keep up the good work that you're doing as well. I hope everyone's listening to the podcast and looking into what you're doing and joining your sessions and your coaching programs as well, because what you're bringing to people in terms of, hey, how do you build sovereign wealth now? That's where it's at.
yeah, it is. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. I appreciate it.
No worries. I look forward to doing it again one day.
Yes. We'll have to get you and Tyler on together. That will be fun. What a
Yeah, that's for
jam.
sure. Yeah, let's do it. Wicked.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, James, and we'll see you on the next one.